What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, we have some very interesting and unfortunate news as Matchroom CEO and promoter Eddie Hearn has some very choice words to describe undefeated three-division world champion who simultaneously held the WBA super title at super featherweight, the WBA regular title at lightweight, the WBA regular title at junior welterweight, superstar boxer Gervonta Tank Davis, who is now 28 wins, no loss, no draw, 26 big wins by way of knockout. He is 28 years of age, 5'5" with a 67-inch arm reach. Gervonta Tank Davis this past weekend, he broke another record, okay? To which Gervonta Tank Davis, he defeated then undefeated WBA super featherweight world champion Dominican star boxer Hector Garcia, who came into the fight 16 wins, no loss, no draw, with 10 wins by way of knockout, 31 years of age, 5'9" with a 67-inch arm reach, is now 16-1 after a ninth round stoppage loss to Gervonta Tank Davis. With that said, Gervonta Tank Davis in his fight previous to this fight, Gervonta Tank Davis fought Rolando Rolly Romero, lightweight star title contender, who came into that fight 14 wins, no loss, no draw, 12 wins by way of knockout, 26 years of age, 5'8" with a 68-inch arm reach. Rolando Rolly Romero never had a world title fight, never fought for a title, and obviously never was a world champion. Gervonta Tank Davis was the major draw. They fought May 28th at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York, to which Gervonta Tank Davis broke the live gate record for a boxing event at the Barclays Center with $5 million gate. They grossed in $5 million gate, okay? Then Gervonta Tank Davis most recently, against Hector Garcia, he fought in Washington, D.C. at the Capital One Arena, another NBA, National Basketball Association's arena, full arena, and Gervonta Tank Davis has 20,000 people in the arena and does a live gate of $5.1 million and breaks another record. Came in second for the biggest gate, the biggest definitely boxing event at the Capital One Arena. So he's quickly becoming the face of the sport of boxing. And Eddie Hearn was asked about these. He knocked out Rolly in the 6th round. He knocked out and stopped Hector Garcia in the 9th round. And Eddie Hearn, he was asked about this. To which Eddie Hearn, he had a very interesting take to describe Gervonta Tank Davis's, not his boxing ability, but his ability as a person. This is what he had to say, quote, "The dangerous thing about Gervonta Tank Davis is he's not a deep thinker, not articulate." So let's just stop right there. He's not a deep thinker means he's a shallow thinker, okay? Means he's not very bright. We understand the wordplay. And it says he's not articulate means he doesn't put things together very well, okay? And let's just look at the definition of not being articulate, shall we? Okay, since Eddie Hearn used these words and then followed it up by saying it's not being disrespectful, okay? But when you say somebody's not articulate, okay, let's just look at the definition of that, okay? When you say a person is not articulate, lacking the ability to express oneself, especially clear and effective speech. So meaning that they can speak clearly, they can express themselves, and they can, communicate. So he's saying that Gervonta Tank Davis can't communicate. He can't speak clearly. Now we know he speaks, he's from Baltimore, so he has a bit of an accent, okay? And to say he's not a deep thinker, okay? When you say somebody's not a deep thinker, okay, let's just look at what that means when you say somebody's not a deep thinker, okay? Because Eddie Hearn, he stated he didn't mean this in a disrespectful manner. Uh, if you didn't mean it in a disrespectful manner, then how did you mean it? Not a deep thinker, the definition. Lacking intellectual or mental depth or subtlety. Okay? meaning that you're not very intelligent, right? So this is what Eddie Hearn had to say, and this is how he described Gervonta Tank Davis. Okay, and then he follows that up by saying, obviously, he didn't mean it in a disrespectful manner. Okay, but then he goes, uh, he's a bad dude. I'm paraphrasing. He says, like Mike Tyson. Now, many people view Mike Tyson in that same way. Not a deep thinker, not being able to articulate themselves, not being able to express themselves, not being able to communicate, not being able to speak very clearly, right? This is how Eddie Hearn described Gervonta Tank Davis and why he can't be the face of the sport of boxing. But he says that, you know, that just makes him dangerous because he's fearless. You can't get into his head. There's another word that you can use to describe what Eddie Hearn just said in a nice way, or a nice word, and that's a word that 4-letter word that begins with a D and ends with a B. Okay, and Eddie Hearn had the audacity to say he didn't mean this in a disrespectful manner. Again, because Eddie Hearn don't think that Gervonta Tank Davis can communicate, he can articulate. He's not a deep thinker. So when he don't think that Gervonta Tank Davis can define what he just said, he thinks that what he just said is going to go over the head of Gervonta Tank Davis. And then what Eddie Hearn is going to come back and say is that he's being misunderstood. Wordplay. Right? And so Gervonta Tank Davis, he responds by saying, quote, I'm not a deep thinker and not articulate, made me not sign that nonsense contract you offered and sent me. Okay. Then he goes on to say, quote, don't you try to judge us like you don't have no flaws. Right. The thing is, this is disrespectful in the least. Right. Eddie Hearn is a grown man that understands that Gervonta Tank Davis is getting it from the mud. This is funny because his comments come on the back of ESPN writers saying that they're not allowed to write positive articles about Gervonta Tank Davis. Isn't that amazing? It's not amazing. It's not shocking at all because this is quote unquote uh, a minority driven sport, the sport of boxing. Most of the athletes in the sport of boxing are are not very fortunate. They don't come from very fortunate situations and they're fighting their way out. Okay? And a way to survive and a way to be able to financially support their families. Black and brown. Okay? And now you have other races, obviously, that are entered in the sport. Ukraine, okay, Ukrainian fighters, Filipino fighters, Asian fighters, so on and so forth. The list goes on and on. But about 90% of boxers come from poverty-stricken backgrounds and not so fortunate backgrounds. And so to use this word to describe, Eddie Hearn is very, very strategic with his wordplay. So to use these words, he knew and understood exactly where he was going with this. It's disrespectful, and there's not enough apologies in the world when you just completely downplayed Gervonta Tank Davis, who's a father of 2 daughters. So imagine Gervonta Tank Davis's kids when they grow up to see this. You just pretty much sold them that he's not very bright, but he's good as a fighter. That's the old narrative, that boxers are not very bright. They're like a bag of rocks, right? But they can fight. It's terrible. It's disrespectful. And Eddie Hearn, of all people, know that these fighters risk it all in that ring. They risk it all in the ring. And to describe who is quickly becoming the face of the sport of boxing, breaking records, live gates, so on and so forth. It's a terrible way to depict him. And Eddie Hearn should be ashamed of himself. Period. And that's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to Black Media Raw. Make sure you like and share the videos. And Eddie Hearn, the joke is on you. Because you thought not only was Gervonta Tank Davis not going to be able to pick this up, but you thought the media and the fans wasn't going to be able to pick it up either. It's terrible. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.